This is a short video showing the installation and setup of a Mark 7 650X Autodrive. Let's first review the setup components that are included and that are illustrated on page 5 of the user manual. We have a tablet, AC power cable, tablet holder mount, tablet holder clamp, crank shield, optical decapping sensor, EMI filter for bullet and case feeder, micro USB cable for the tablet, cable management zip ties, mounting hardware and knuckle, and micro SD card for software updates. Let's take a look at some of the tools we're going to need for this setup and installation. A 7/8 inch combination wrench, along with a 7/8 inch ratchet, or you can use a second 7/8 inch combination wrench, and 11/16 socket or box wrench, a 1/4 inch nut driver or 1/4 inch wrench, an 1/8 inch Allen wrench, a 7/16 combination wrench, and a soft-faced mallet. Okay, we're going to get the 650 ready for the Mark 7 drive. I'm just going to follow along with the manual. I'm on page 8 of the manual now, if you want to follow that. I'm going to insert a Allen wrench in the handle, loosen it, okay. This aside, handles off. Next page, page 9. We're going to remove a set screw from the bottom of the ram. We want to put this someplace safe because we're going to need it again. Set screw. Okay, and we're going to push this pin out. Can you see that? Okay, next page. Okay, now we have to remove the right side of the link bars. We're going to use 7/8 inch wrenches. Start with the top nut. And next, the bottom one. Have to work this off a little. Doesn't always come off willingly. Sometimes you have to use a punch. Here we go. Okay, slide the knuckle off and slide the link assembly out. Okay, page 11. Now we need to remove the bottom pin from the left side link, and we're going to use a vise to do that. Okay, now we're going to remove the bottom pin from the left link bar. Okay. Okay, moving on to page 12, we're going to reinstall the link arms. Slide the left side in, should slide right in. Place the right side on it, put a nut on it. And you want this to be fairly tight. Okay, let's move on to page 13. And we're getting ready to mount the press on the drive, but first we need to install the connecting knuckle. We're on page 13 now. We're going to connect the Mark 7 crank to the 650 ram, but first we have to install the knuckle. We're going to reuse that set screw you removed. The set screw in the bottom of the Mark 7 knuckle. Just get it started. Slip it into position in the crank. Slide the pin in. Center it, and tighten the set screw. When you tighten the set screw, move the pin back and forth a little bit so that it finds its way to the groove in the pin. There we go. Okay. That looks about right. Now we're ready to mount the press on the drive. Okay, we've got the 650 sitting on top of the Mark 7 drive. We've inserted the 4 cap screws and washers into the holes in the top plate. Got them started. We're going to tighten these 1/4-20s. Okay, we have the press mounted on the drive. We're on page 15. It's time to line up the knuckle with the bottom of the ram and insert the 14mm bolt through the knuckle. You may find it helpful to use a there it is, to use a wrench when you're aligning it. Once it's lined up, it goes through pretty easily. And we're going to a nut and washer. Okay, now we're not going to tighten this all the way, we're just going to tighten it partially so we have a little bit of play for alignment. We're going to swing the link bars down and insert the 1/2-inch cap screws. Okay. And we need a 3/4 inch wrench to finish this. Now that everything is connected, we can put final tightness on the cap screws holding the press down to the drive. We can tighten the 14mm bolt. And we can fully tighten the link bars. Okay, now it's time to install the crank shield. I need to remove the release paper from the 4 pieces of Velcro. Squeeze the shield together. Insert it. And press it against the sides of the drive and the front support. Okay, moving along to page 18, let's attach the tablet mount. Good position for it is just about level with the top of the workhead. Slide the U-bolt on and fasten the 2 lock nuts. Now we're ready to mount the tablet. The mounts that are shipped may vary a little bit, so this style mounts like so, and the other mounts may be slightly different. Now it's time to connect the cables. Let's connect the micro USB cable, the end with the adapter, which in this case also has a red tag on it, labeled tablet, has to go into the tablet. If you do it the other way around, it's not going to work. And if you look at the end of the cable, you see it's D-shaped, and the small part of the D is going to go towards the back of the tablet. Push all the way in, it should go in all the way. Okay, and we connect the other end to the console, and there's a diagram on page 21 that shows the appropriate locations. plug power into the tablet. And that connector is directly under the micro USB connector. Let's plug the motor power in to the console, and motor control also to the console. If you run the cables that go to the tablet over the top, you can get them out of the way a little better and just have them rest on the top. And then we can zip tie them to the bottom of the tablet mount. That should keep them out of the way. There we go. Some Dillon case feeders cause excessive electrical interference. So there's a filter supplied with the Mark 7 drive. In order to install it, we need to remove the front cover of the case feeder. To do that, we need to remove the two screws holding the upper part. We're using a 1/4 inch nut driver to do this. To remove these two screws. And let's see if we can get this out without removing the final two screws. Yes. Okay, flip it around. Okay, we need to disconnect the center connector on the on-off switch. Slide the one connector from the filter, reconnect, the connector that you previously removed. Okay. Let's fit this all back together and then we'll test it. Once you have it all back together, just plug it in and test for operation. There's high, there's low. Okay, now we're on page 28 installing the optical decapping sensor. We have to remove the spent primer bin bracket. Requires a 3/32 Allen wrench. Okay, let's install the decap sensor using a ball end 9/64 Allen wrench. It's easier if you put the screw that's closest to you in first. Let's get that started. Okay. Finally, we plug the connector into port 5 of the console. That completes the basic setup of the 650 Autodrive. What's important is to manage the cables so that they're not in the way of the moving parts of the machine. Use the stick-on cable tie mounts and the extra cable ties to secure the cable so that they are not in danger of being caught in any of the moving parts. And we'll bring the camera around the back. We've cleaned up the cables in back to get an idea of one way to do it that's effective. You can use these little stick-on cable tie mounts. Remove the release paper. Press the mount on a flat surface, run the cable tie through the mount, pull it tight, and that gives you a nice way to manage the cables. Okay, and we'll just clip this off. Clip off the access, snip off the access. The power switch is just above the power cord connector on the back of the console. Let's switch that on. Turn the tablet on using the button on the upper right hand side. Hold it in until you see the little Android. And here we go. Press reloader. Read the warning. Accept it. Okay, let's press the Calibrate button. The Autodrive calibrates itself to the length of the press stroke. Let's go to sensors. Let's disable all of the sensors. Let's go back to control. Let's increase the digital clutch slightly and single cycle. Okay. And everything looks good. Let's press run. Everything looks good. And the cycle. Okay, that completes the basic setup. What we could do is let's try a higher speed, 1200. Higher speed looks good. Okay, and we'll end cycle. And that's it. It's a good idea to leave the power on initially to so that the battery of the tablet is fully charged. That completes it. Enjoy your Mark 7 Autodrive.